I'm Natasha Busst and this is Nightline, the top stories. Application for Najib's Solidarity Rally rejected. And Selangor government to review concert guidelines. Police have rejected the application for a solidarity rally in support of former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Razak at the Palace of Justice in Putrajaya this Monday. Putrajaya District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Aidi Shah Muhammad on Saturday said the application was rejected as it was found to be incomplete. In a statement, Aidi Sham said that the police had received the application on December 31st. After a review of the submission, the organizers were informed on January 3rd that their application to hold the rally had been rejected. Nonetheless, Aidi Sham said 456 police officers and personnel will be assigned for security control at the Palace of Justice and its surrounding areas on Monday. Earlier, it was reported that a solidarity gathering had been planned on Monday to coincide with Najib's application to the Court of Appeal against the decision of the High Court relating to the royal addendum. The Selangor government will review its concert guidelines to prevent drug abuse-related deaths from recurring following the death of 4 revelers at a recent New Year's Eve countdown event. Youth Sports and Entrepreneurship Committee Chairman Najwan Halimi said he would meet with Ng Swee Lim, who heads the local government and tourism committee portfolio, to discuss the matter.
Kita nak elakkan supaya kejadian ini tak berlaku di masa akan datang, dan saya setuju untuk kita semak dan kaji semula dari segi guideline atau pelaksanaan satu-satu program atau konsep.
At the same time, Najwan expressed hope that concert organizers will thoroughly evaluate the effectiveness of their procedures, particularly in stopping prohibited substances from entering or being used at such events. On Saturday, the Selangor police announced that permits for concerts in the state would be temporarily suspended, effective immediately. Police said that moving forward, organizers would need to assure the authorities that they would be able to prevent drugs from being smuggled into the concert venue. In the meantime, police have recorded statements from 15 individuals in relation to the Pinkfish countdown event at Bandar Sunway in Subang Jaya on December 31st. Selangor Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan said those questioned include the organizer as well as family members and friends of the 4 people who died after attending the event. Hussein said police are still awaiting for the autopsy and toxicology reports to determine the cause of death. He added that 2 other people who were receiving treatment in the intensive care unit of the University Malaya Medical Center have regained consciousness but are still weak. Based on their preliminary investigation, the 4 who died were suspected of consuming ecstasy. Hussein had earlier revealed that symptoms of ecstasy intoxication were also observed in 3 others who are currently hospitalized. Authorities had noted that all 7 individuals, though in separate groups, had attended the same event where they reportedly overdosed. A total of 327 cases of human metapneumovirus or HMPV infections were detected in 2024, marking an increase from the 225 cases recorded previously in 2023. However, according to the Health Ministry, no new cases of the virus have been reported so far. In a statement on Saturday, the ministry said HMPV is not a new disease and infections are not required to be reported or notified according to the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act. However, the public has been urged to remain vigilant as respiratory tract infections will continue to persist in the community. The public is also encouraged to proactively maintain their health and prevent the spread of infections to others, especially in enclosed and crowded areas. The Health Ministry will also continuously monitor the development of respiratory tract infections, both domestically and internationally, enhancing preparedness and taking appropriate measures. HMPV is a respiratory tract infection caused by a virus from the Pneumoviridae family. Meanwhile, Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad stated that the increase in acute respiratory infections at the end and beginning of the year is a fully expected phenomenon in line with the rise in respiratory infections also reported in other countries, especially those with cold seasons like China. Zulkifli also advised those experiencing prolonged symptoms such as cough, fever or a blocked nose to seek treatment at the nearest healthcare facility immediately. The ministry is also working closely with the World Health Organization and neighboring countries such as Thailand, China and Singapore to exchange information on the development of the virus. The Home Ministry has introduced the My Border Pass application to allow Malaysians to utilize immigration clearance using QR codes at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Terminals 1 and 2. According to the Immigration Department, the system is currently undergoing a trial phase, which started in January. In a post on its social media accounts on Saturday, the Immigration Department stated that Malaysians are required to download the application in order to register their travel information. Users must also complete the facial recognition process before beginning their journey or upon arrival at the airport. On Wednesday, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said that the system is available at 40 dedicated lanes in KLIA Terminals 1 and 2. The system's implementation not only intends to speed up immigration clearance, but also to address congestion issues, especially during peak times and festive seasons. The system also reduces clearance times to 5 to 7 seconds, compared to the 15 to 25 seconds required when using conventional automatic gates. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has arrested a man in connection with a case involving heavy vehicle inspections at the Puspacom Centre. A remand order was obtained on Saturday morning to hold the suspect until January 10th to assist in their investigations. According to the MACC, the man in his 40s was arrested on Friday following collaboration between the Commission and the Road Transport Department, RTD. Initial investigations revealed that the suspect made payments totaling hundreds of ringgit for each vehicle inspected in exchange for approving heavy vehicle inspections at Puspacom. The MACC added that the arrest underscores its commitment, together with the RTD, to safeguard the vehicle inspection process and ensure it remains free from corruption. Meanwhile, police said the dislodged lorry tire central to the investigation into the 5-vehicle deadly crash in Malacca recently was not sent for inspection at Puspacom. Alor Gajah Police Chief Superintendent Ashari Abu Sama said they were unable to locate the tire during an investigation at the scene of the accident, which occurred at kilometre 204 of the North-South Expressway heading north. He said police initially had no information regarding the missing tire until dashcam footage surfaced from a witness. He said during questioning, the lorry driver also confirmed that the tire had detached from the vehicle. As such, he said the police, together with Plus, are working to locate and retrieve the lorry's tire, as no tire was found at the time of the incident. On January 2nd, Puspacom said it had submitted its findings on the fatal crash to the Malaysian Institute of Road Safety Research for further action, despite incomplete investigations due to the missing tire. It added that the report only covered the inspection of the vehicles involved. The collision, which occurred on December 24th, involving 5 vehicles, claimed 7 lives and injured 33 people. 2 women were killed and 2 others seriously injured after the car they were travelling in fell into a 6-metre deep ravine at kilometre 152 of the East Coast Expressway 1 near Felda Nerek in Maran, Pahang. The incident occurred at 11 a.m. on Saturday as the 4 were travelling from Banting, Selangor, heading towards Maran. The 2 victims were identified as V. Kohmati, aged 61, and K. Vasanti, aged 60. The women were sitting in the rear seats of the Nissan Almera during the accident. The driver and front passenger are receiving treatment at Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Hospital in Temerloh. According to Maran Police Chief Superintendent Wong Kim Wai, the 33-year-old woman driving the car lost control of the vehicle before it skidded and plunged into the ravine on the left side of the highway. Both rear passengers were killed on the spot, while the driver and 24-year-old front passenger sustained serious injuries. The victims were confirmed to be relatives who were traveling to the Sri Maratandavar Alayam Temple in Sungai Jerik. The remains of the two passengers were taken to Jengka Hospital for a post-mortem. In Sarawak, a man was killed when his house on Jalan Stampin Baru in Kuching collapsed on Saturday. In the 2:30 a.m. incident, the body of the victim, identified as 58-year-old Lim In Tong, was found under piles of rubble and debris. The Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department's Operations Center spokesman said they received a distress call regarding the incident at about 2:50 a.m. A team of 8 firefighters from the Tabuan Jaya Fire and Rescue Station were then deployed to the scene, located about 7 kilometers from the station. Upon arrival, rescuers were informed by members of the public that a victim was trapped inside the collapsed house. The team searched through the rubble and managed to locate the victim beneath the debris. The victim was extricated 2 hours later at about 4:05 a.m. and was pronounced dead at the scene by medical personnel. The body was then handed over to the police for post-mortem, and the cause of the incident is being investigated. A teenage girl who was arrested for stabbing her aunt at a flat in Perai, Pulau Pinang on Friday has been remanded for 3 days to assist in the investigation. Police obtained the remand order from the magistrate's court on Saturday morning, allowing the 14-year-old suspect to be held until January 6. According to Seberang Perai Tengah District Police Chief ACP Helmi Aris, police are still investigating the case, including the exact motive behind the incident that led the suspect to stab her aunt. The case is being investigated under Section 324 of the Penal Code for causing injury with a weapon. On Saturday, the media reported that a 35-year-old woman sustained abdominal injuries after being stabbed by her niece during a quarrel. Preliminary investigations revealed that the 14-year-old girl, who had dropped out of school, had been staying with her aunt for the past 4 days due to family issues. It was also reported that they got into an argument when the girl expressed her desire to return home to live with her biological mother, to which the victim refused. The victim is currently receiving treatment at the Seberang Jaya Hospital. In Pahang, 3 children are among 50 foreigners detained in an operation by the Immigration Department at 4 construction sites in Kuantan on Saturday. The foreigners were detained for not possessing the required documents and for expired work permits. State Immigration Department Director Nur Safariza Ihsan said the operation, which was conducted by a 38-member enforcement team, began at midnight and lasted for 6 hours. Raids were conducted at workers' quarters in Panching and Indira Makuta, where over 100 individuals were screened. Following this, enforcement officers detained 42 men, 5 women and 3 children, comprising Indonesians and Bangladeshis.
Saya ingin mengingatkan secara tegas kepada semua majikan yang mengambil pekerja asing sebagai pekerja Malaysia mereka di negara ini supaya sentiasa mengambil cakna dan mengemaskini maknanya sentiasa di dalam pengetahuan mereka status pekerja-pekerja asing yang mereka ambil.
Nur Safariza added that the foreigners' employers will be called in to assist case investigations. Those held were taken to the immigration office in Indira Makuta for documentation processing before they were sent to the Kemayan Detention Depot in Bura. In 2024, 2,543 foreign laborers were detained in Pahang, while 10,449 people voluntarily turned themselves in under the Migrant Repatriation Program. Sporting shares spoils with Victoria. Sports after this breather.
Kopi satu.
I didn't stop my dad while dia tengah bergaduh dengan kawan until end up kawan dia bunuh my dad. Umur Mary 9 tahun masa tu. Everything happened so fast until I saw dia punya kawan tikam sini dia. The last time I saw him, kami pergi hospital di dalam icebox sudah. Maybe that's the reason why I don't want to be a nurse. Sebab dia flashback everything that happened.
Wanita hebat sentiasa menjadikan kekurangan diri sebagai sumber kekuatan untuk berjaya.
Ada time yang nampak dia punya movement macam Pak Mak On. Alamak Malaika, I think you kena pergi belajar proper lah. Memang I cakap dia sendiri nak buat, tapi kids being kids.
Untuk membuat inti pulut udang ni, kita tak memerlukan minyak yang banyak untuk menumis. Lebih sedap kita bakar melalui tradisional lah.
Aktiviti di sini bukan sahaja untuk orang dewasa, tetapi untuk kanak-kanak juga kita sediakan aktiviti kat sini.
Tahun baru, semangat baru untuk gaya hidup yang sihat.
Yang paling penting, kita kena set objektif. Jangan terus set masa tahun 25 nak loss 30 kilo dalam masa sebulan.
Hangat-hangat teh ayam, bagaimana untuk kekal konsisten?
Di sebalik kegairahan untuk mengejar azam 2025, kita kena tahu tahap kita. Kita tak boleh follow je kawan-kawan. Kita buat secara berkadaran.
2025, cergas dan fit kami bincangkan dalam Hina Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Sports now football, the Portuguese Primeira Liga. Vitória let a come-from-behind victory slip as Francisco Trincão scored a late equalizer for Sporting, splitting the points after a 4-all draw in the thriller on Friday. Victor Gyökeres gave Sporting an early lead when he slotted home just 2 minutes into the game. Vitória drew level 5 minutes later when Thiago Silva struck a brilliant free kick, only for Gyökeres to score his second goal for Sporting in the 14th minute. The visitors seemed set for victory, with Gyökeres completing his hat-trick to put the Portuguese champions 3-1 up. Vitória, however, refused to lie down as Caio Cesar pulled one back in the 69th minute before João Sabino Mendes equalized to make it 3-all in the 82nd minute. With renewed hope, Vitória's Dieu-Merci and Dembo Michel turned the tables by heading in a free kick directly in front of goal 3 minutes later. Rui Borges' side looked set to take all 3 points until Trincão magically curled in a strike off the post in the last minute of extra time to equalize again, leaving both teams sharing the points. Turning to tennis, the United Cup. Team USA reached the final after winning 2-0 in dramatic circumstances on Saturday when Czechia's Tomáš Machac suddenly retired in the second set of his match with Taylor Fritz. 24-year-old Machac looked set to draw the Czechs level at 1-all in their semi-final and was serving for the contest against Fritz, but an apparent cramp took its toll and he lost 3 straight games before throwing in the towel at 7-6, 5-6. Earlier, Kokogov got the ball rolling for the 2023 champions with a 6-1, 6-4 victory over the tricky Karolina Muchova in a rematch of the Beijing final in October that the American won. The result gave the Americans an unassailable 2-0 lead, setting up a title clash with Poland, who hammered Kazakhstan. Still on tennis, the Brisbane International. In a battle between two of the biggest serves on the ATP Tour, it was Riley Opelka who came out on top against Giovanni Impeci-Perricard on Saturday. In an absorbing clash, the American earned a 6-3, 7-6 win against Impeci-Perricard to reach his first ATP Tour final since 2022. Chasing his 5th ATP Tour crown and first since Houston in 2022, Opelka will meet Yeji Lehechka in the final. Earlier defending champion Grigor Dimitrov retired from the semi-finals to hand Lehechka a shot at a second Australian title. The unseeded Czech player Lehechka was leading 6-4, 4-4 when the Bulgarian left the court with the physiotherapist for a medical timeout. Dimitrov then attempted to play on before retiring, citing left hip pain to send the 23-year-old into his 4th ATP final. In the women's category, Russian qualifier Polina Kudermetova progressed to the biggest final of her career with a win over Ukraine's Anhelina Kalinina in the last 4. The 21-year-old secured a 6-4, 6-3 victory in 84 minutes to advance to the decider, where she will meet world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka. Moving on to golf, the 2025 The Century. Hideki Matsuyama hit a second successive 65 to take a 1-stroke lead at the halfway point of the season-opening PGA Tour in Hawaii on Friday. The former Masters champion carded 8 birdies as he reached 36 holes with just 1 bogey on his card. His 16-under par total at Kapalua leaves him 1 clear of fellow major champion Collin Morikawa, who reeled off 5 successive birdies from the 13th in his 65. American Maverick McNeely equaled the lowest round of the day with a 64 to move to a shot behind Morikawa on 14 under, alongside Canada's Corey Connors, Thomas Detry of Belgium, and first-round leader Tom Hogue of the US. England's Harry Hall birdied 4 of his last 5 holes en route to a 65, which took him into a group on 13 under par, which also included US Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley and Wyndham Clark, who both carded 64s. Donald Trump to be sentenced in hush money case on January 10th. The details when Nightline returns.
Pergi ke White Media memang impian saya dengan arwah bapa.
Dari kecil, saya selalu buat melodi lagu. Dan Papa selalu nak dengar. Sampai dia dapat duit pencen. Dia keluarkan RM15,000 untuk sewa mini album. Dan kita orang kena tipu dengan satu record label. Satu kopi pun saya tak dapat. Dan sebelum Papa pergi, Papa ada cakap, Alin, jangan stop.
Saat ni dah dua-dua sakit. Betul-betul kehilangan punca perubatan lah. Makan minum, kami, adik ada bagi, ada tolong. Kau ipak pun ada tolong juga.
Rawatan sekarang ni, kita nak tunggu kesembuhan kaki ni, kita makan masa lama juga lah. 6 bulan, 7 bulan juga. Tu saya pun tak tahu nak cakap macam mana.
Saya kerja hari. Kalau dapat gaji dia pun, saya bagi kat kakak lah untuk tolong kakak.
Saya tidaklah membuat art tu secara sembrono, asalkan rupa macam batik, tak ada. Saya study apakah unsur-unsur dan juga motif dan apakah membuatkan sesuatu batik Malaysia itu batik Malaysia.
Berjalan malam hari cukup mencabar. Pertama kali bujang senang, sang bedal memang sentiasa ada dekat tepi.
Setiap orang menuai padi, baru ada musim lelita. Setahun ada sekali, dalam setahun tu sekali lah makan.
Raden dengan Malis, aku akan satukan.
Sejak bila saya jadi tunang awak?
Awak dengar dulu apa saya nak cakap.
Awak jangan nak memandai.
Hang tak bagi tahu aku.
Sama je kan aku tidak mana-mana pun. Hang memang takkan sentuh aku.
Kami tak berjaya selamatkan anak Encik. Saya harap Encik bersabar ya.
Aku minta maaf sebab aku kau dengan Reza berpisah. Siapa cakap aku dengan Reza berpisah?
Cinta Bukan Milik Kita, Isnin hingga Khamis 10 malam di Samarinda TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
A U.S. judge has ordered the president-elect Donald Trump to be sentenced on January 10th in his hush money case in New York, less than 2 weeks before he is set to be sworn in as president. A New York justice on Friday signaled he would not sentence Trump to jail time, probation, or a fine, but instead give him an unconditional discharge, and wrote in his order that the president-elect could appear in person or virtually for the hearing. However, Trump on Saturday dismissed the judge's order as an illegitimate political attack. He also argued that the case would hang over him during his presidency and impede his ability to govern. Trump was convicted in May of falsifying business records related to a $130,000 payment to an adult film star. The president-elect, however, denied all wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty. Myanmar's embattled Junta government on Saturday said it would release almost 6,000 prisoners as part of an annual amnesty to mark the country's Independence Day. In a statement, the junta said more than 5,800 prisoners, including 180 foreigners, will be freed on humanitarian and compassionate grounds when the country marks 77 years of independence from British colonial rule. The junta also announced that 144 people who had been sentenced to life in prison would have their sentences commuted to 15 years. However, it did not give details of what the prisoners had been convicted of or the nationalities of the foreign detainees who were set to be deported on release. In another development, South Korean investigators on Saturday said they were close to finalizing the transcript of the cockpit voice recorder, CVR, from the fatal Jeju airplane crash that left 179 people dead last week. In a statement, South Korea's Land Ministry said the transcript of the cockpit, CVR, is expected to be completed by Saturday, while the flight data recorder, FDR, is in the process of being prepared for transport to the United States. Investigators also recovered the aircraft engine from the crash site this week. The exact cause of the Boeing 737-800 crash is still unknown, but investigators have pointed to a bird strike, faulty landing gear, and the runway barrier as possible issues. The recording may hold clues to the final moments of Jeju Air Flight 2216, which was carrying 181 passengers and crew from Thailand to South Korea on Sunday when it belly landed before slamming into a concrete barrier at the end of an airport runway. A fire at a vegetable market in China's northern province of Hebei has killed at least 8 people and wounded 15 others. According to officials, the fire at the Liguang market broke out at about 8:40 a.m. local time and was extinguished after 10 a.m. They added that the injured had been sent to hospital for treatment and are currently not in life-threatening danger. In the meantime, authorities are now investigating the cause of the fire. Deadly fires are relatively common in China due to lax building codes and an often slipshod approach to workplace safety, especially in traditional markets where shops are often tightly packed. At least 26 Palestinians were killed in the latest Zionist attacks on Saturday after days of escalation that left more than 150 people dead. According to local media, at least 11 Palestinians have been killed and dozens wounded in a Zionist attack east of Gaza City, while a vehicle was bombed on Gaza's Salah al-Din Street, killing 6 Palestinian security guards working to provide humanitarian aid. Earlier, Zionist forces have ordered the immediate evacuation of staff and patients from 2 of northern Gaza's most critical hospitals as the United Nations pleaded with Israel to halt its attacks on medical facilities in the besieged territory. The UN said they recorded 136 Zionist attacks on 27 health facilities in Gaza, causing significant death and destruction. As violence raged in the Gaza Strip, Hamas has confirmed that indirect negotiations with Israel have resumed in Qatar with the goal of achieving a complete ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. In a statement, the group said the movement reaffirms its seriousness and optimism, as it always does, and continues to work toward an agreement that will fulfill the aspirations and goals of our people. The statement added that the latest round of talks is expected to focus on achieving a comprehensive and lasting ceasefire, securing the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, and facilitating the safe and prompt return of displaced Palestinians to their homes. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as workers put the final touches on ice castles, slides and snow sculptures ahead of the opening of the 2025 Harbin International Ice and Snow Festival on Sunday. With that, I'm Natasha. Thank you for watching and stay safe.